Reading in bed. Reading in bed.
Hi guys, Andy N. Reading in Bed, episode 45. Some sad news today before we start. Now, obviously, anybody who's been a regular viewer to our podcast over the last 3.75 years would have known, obviously, I've been co-hosting this podcast with Amanda Steele. Unfortunately, Amanda has now left the project. So we have a new co-host in with us. New co-host, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
It's me, Amanda Nicholson.
Now, who's Amanda Nicholson?
Formerly Amanda Steele.
Exactly. Now, of course, I'm wondering why the name changed. Amanda?
Because somebody was stupid enough to marry me.
I wonder who that was then. I don't know who that was, Amanda. Did you know who that was?
I don't know. But
yeah. Anyway.
That's why.
Yeah, that of course happened. Obviously, now this is getting released obviously on the Monday, the 6th of September, or around that territory. This actually was recorded just before that, of course. And me and Amanda got married, on Saturday, the 4th of September.
Yeah. In the future and the past at the same time. It's a strange timey-wimey.
Worlds collided, that's all I'm going to say. So, okay, guys and girls, seriously now. Obviously, this is, like I said, it is Reading in Bed, episode 45. What is Reading in Bed, Amanda, as a podcast?
It's a book review podcast.
What is unusual about this episode today, Amanda, before we go into news?
We've only got 4 books between them.
Yeah, that's
got a book that we've both read.
2 of them, not 1, 2, yeah. And we've done it in podcasts before where we've done 3, a joint book and obviously 2 solo books. I don't ever recall us doing. We might have had a podcast where you might have read more than me, but it's usually worked out roundabout, doesn't it? So usually worked out roundabout and balanced out normally. That's why this is a little bit different today because we're going to be doing, like I said, 2 joint review books and 1 solo book each. So, but before we get to that, news. Amanda, what news have you got?
Okay, so on the 27th of August, we had the live launch for From the Shadows, a printed words anthology. And we had 7 of us reading our work. And that's available to watch on the printed words page on Facebook.
Yeah, it looks good news. It's really, really good news. I'm really proud of that book too. So little I've helped you out with it, Amanda. So it's been an excellent book. So people can easily find that on all the usual places, can't they?
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Everywhere and anywhere. So now, apart from that, what other news have you got, Amanda? I know you've got plenty of news. You're always good for a bit of news.
I have a flash fiction collection that's on pre-order that's going to be out on the 10th of September. And it's called Little Splashes.
Yeah. Now, what made you want to do what's made you want to do a flash fiction?
I just had so many pieces lying about. I just pieced them together. And the thing is, now I set the pre-order up, I'm coming up with pieces on my computer that I'd forgotten about that didn't even get in the collection because I just didn't find them when I was putting the collection together.
Yeah. It's been interesting, really, I suppose, Amanda, isn't it, that, really, because we're sorting this out. You've been writing flash fiction a lot longer than I have. And it was, people are wondering, obviously, we do our own little informal workshop, and you've been producing quite a few pieces in that. And is that where some of these pieces have come from, do you reckon, in hindsight, then? I
would say more than half of them have. Some were old pieces, and others were just pieces that I just wrote for whatever reason, like for specific calls that just didn't get a reply or got rejected.
Yeah, so it's going to be a good book. So I've been looking forward to seeing that. Now, you've got other books on the way as well, haven't you? Do you want to give any other hints what you're doing at the moment? Future projects beyond that?
Yeah, so I'm putting together a collection of articles that are adapted on Medium because I do blogging on there, and they're about different parts of the writing and publishing process. So it's not like a complete how-to guide. It's just here's everything in my brain. I hope it helps you.
That's why I don't know. And you've also we've also got some joint projects in the go, haven't we, as well? So
Yeah, we've got the follow-up to Run Away With Me in 7 words, which is called Run Away With Me Again in 8 words.
And everyone's wondering, how many words is that, Amanda?
8 words.
8 words. And what else have we got coming up?
And we're doing a winter book together, which we don't have a title for yet.
No,
even though I did have some ideas, but we'll argue over that later.
Yeah, well, that'll be one for we can get divorced on, can't we? Before we just got married as well.
Yeah. In the next episode, will be like, and here's Amanda Steele, she's come back again.
Yeah,
that cow.
Yeah, Amanda Steele's doing the podcast by herself next episode. Andy Ends walked away. He's quit. All right. So no, but otherwise, of course, and a few bits and pieces on my side, mostly forthcoming stuff. So I've not got nothing new coming up at the minute. I've just started work on Europa 5, which I do with my friend Nick Ambrister. Those video our anti-war poems. I've been doing this for about 10 years now. It tends to be every 2-3 years we produce a new book. So I've done about a quarter of my next book on that one. And that's on the Afghanistan situation at the moment, and which is frankly shocking. So also I'm on to the second book of my Sunday Tribune articles as well. Now that website unfortunately has gone down now, so I'm carrying it on my own blog, because I've got a lot of features that I've wanted to do in the Sunday Tribune. So there will be a second book of this probably coming out probably November, December as well. So, and said, who knows me on that? Don't we, Amanda? Play it by ear. So, also got Speakeasy coming up. Well, down this episode goes live. We've already had our September episode to feature on some Speakeasy at Cholton's Dulcet Bar, but we've got a special on in September, Amanda, haven't we?
Yeah, as part of the Cholton Arts Festival.
Yeah, on Monday, the 13th of September, which is bizarre, really, because why is it bizarre, this, Amanda? Go on, about Speakeasy this month.
Because Speakeasy, when it was run by a different person, had at least a part in us getting together, and it's now going to be the last one we do we're unmarried, and the first one we do after we're married.
Yeah, so it's going to be rather strange. So we've got that coming up as well. So there's plenty going on at the moment, so watch your space. Now, okay, we're now going to move on for our first book review of the month, Amanda, aren't we?
Yeah.
Now, would you like me to state what this first book is going to be?
Yeah.
Okay, and do you want me to read the blurb as well?
You can do.
Okay, this is by Matthew Fitzsimmons, and the book is called Constance. Blurb. A breakthrough in human cloning becomes one woman's waking nightmare in a mind-bending thriller by the Wall Street journalist, best-selling author of the Gibson Vaughan series. In the near future, advances in medicine and quantum computing make human cloning a reality. For the wealthy, cheating death is the ultimate luxury. To anti-cloning militants is an aberration against nature. For young Constance, Nancy, who was gifted her own clone by late auntie, is terrifying. After a routine monthly upload of her consciousness, stored for an inevitable transition, something goes wrong. When Con wakes up in the clinic, he's 18 months later. Her recent memories are missing. Her original, she's told, is dead. If that's true, what does that make her? The secrets of Con's discontinued life are very deep. So are those how and why she died. To uncover the truth, Con is retracing the last days she can recall. Crossing paths with a detective is just as curious. On the run, she needs someone she can trust, because one thing has become clear. Con had been marked for murder all over again. Right, okay. Now, there's a few things to talk about this book straight away. Now, I'm going to have to ask Amanda the obvious question here, and an opinion in this one, because Amanda is a member on a very good Twitter group called Men Writing Women Badly. That's the name of the group, Amanda, isn't it? Or Women Writing Men? Yeah, I'm going to have to ask you the obvious question, because the main character is a young female, and it's wrote by a man now. Did you think he got to grips with writing women in this book?
I didn't really notice anything wrong with it, and I just automatically assumed that a woman had wrote it, to be honest. I didn't pick up anything that thought, he doesn't know what he's talking about with women.
Yeah, it didn't. We've both read books before now when it's been badly wrote on it. So, and that. But no, that side of things, I thought he seemed pretty confident. It seemed to be okay. So, right. So, what did you like about this book, Amanda?
I like the idea of it. I think it's a really good idea. And what I found interesting is just how it raises a lot of questions, like if somebody's cloned and they look like someone else, does that make them the person, or are they somebody different?
Yeah, it's really, it does. And it made me think of the case where, like, 18 months of the human cycle of life, a person can change a lot in 18 months. So when she woke up, didn't she, basically, like 18 months later, she didn't know what had gone on in the 18 months missing, how it had changed her life. And
Yeah,
there's, I
but there's a
thought,
bit in it as well where she's talking to somebody and she's said to them that she's not the same person that, the original was. And then she says something else to them and she's like, the person says, oh, that's strange that you've said that because that's exactly what your original said to me before.
no, it's
So
interesting.
it's like you are the same person deep down. And is it your memories that make you who you are, or is it something else?
I think it's experienced a lot of it, and that's what I think the book was really getting at. You're right; it's had some very, very interesting ideas in it, and if I'm honest, I will come on to the weaknesses more. But there's a few bits at the beginning I wasn't very happy with it, but I felt the world itself set up pretty well, wasn't it? Because like it's set in the near future. We're not obviously like what was it about? I think it was 30 years in the future, wasn't it?
It's something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's probably just about right enough to get away with that idea and what he tried then. So no, but anyway, what else did you like about this book, Amanda?
I think that was mostly it, really. I didn't hate the book, but I didn't think every day, oh, I've got to get this book and it's fantastic and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. It was just like an okay book to read and I'll go into a podcast.
Yeah, the same for me, really, because obviously people are wondering why we found out about this book. It came through Amazon First Reads. Now, obviously, I'm a member of Amazon Prime. Amanda's not now. But when we have a running joke, Amanda, don't we? When we go through Amazon Prime or First Reads every month, is there going to be any decent books on it this month?
Yeah. As a Prime member, you get it for free. And if I want a copy, I've got to pay 99 pence.
I think for 99 pence, if I'm honest, there are no disrespect to the writer here. That it was probably that sort of pot boiler. It was probably worth it. You wouldn't have paid more. I wouldn't, particularly after the book started. I'll come on to the weakness in a minute. It was I felt myself 99 pence was probably about pushing it. To be honest, I don't think I'd have paid any more. And that truth be told you.
No, I don't tend to. I know how much as a writer myself that a lot of work goes into it. But I also believe that if you've got the kind of backing and you're going to get a lot of publicity and you list your book at 99 pence, it's actually a good thing because you're going to get thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of people buying it. If you list it at $2.99 or $5.99, it's like you might only get a few hundred, so you actually get more by listing it cheaper, if that makes sense.
I think particularly when this is like the first book in the series, because I don't know if you spotted it, Amanda, about the author. The author's wrote another series, which mentioned in the blurb, and there's 5 books in that series. Was it 6 maybe? And he's taking, I think it was 6 actually, and he's taking a break to write this series now for a while. So I said he can see straight away if he's done that, and this is a fairly major publishing house as well. He's got like obviously quite a bit of backing. So you'd have thought in some ways is the book, and we'll come on to the weakness in a minute, would probably been better than what it was. Because like I said, but let's just jump into the weaknesses. I want to ask you a few questions about this.
Okay.
What did you think of the use of the characters of the men in this book?
I just felt like they could have all merged into the same person or a couple of people. I just couldn't distinguish between them very well.
Yeah, that was my weakness in the book, my first weakness in the book, because there was only one male character I came out with any sympathy for, and they killed him off right at the end of it.
Yeah.
And I thought that's going to make life hard for a second book, because there was a number of male characters in it were pretty crucial and sympathetic. And you got to, tell me what you think of this, being a novelist yourself. It's great you've got a really compelling major character, and I felt she was a pretty compelling character. but you've got to back it up with really good backing characters, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I think, what do you think? Do you think that was a mistake you made in this book?
I've felt like the ending, it was quite far-fetched.
Oh, the ending was ridiculous. That's my major weakness, that is.
Yeah, the book was fairly reasonable to a certain point, and then it just got to the point where it's like, I just don't feel like this is realistic anymore. It's like, I know it's like science fiction, but you've just got to believe it in the context of the book, and I didn't.
Yeah, that's the last 50 pages or so where, and we don't want to give too much away, do we? But like I said, when you got twist after twist coming up, and it was, I think that's the problem I had with it, really, because I think the last 50 pages, it'd been building up for a while, like I said with it, there's lots of twists on top of it, and I think it's one of those ones where it could have easily been a 9 out of 10, this book, really, really easily. But there was little things in it that bugged me a lot in it, if you know what I mean with it. As I was thinking of the male characters, I didn't like, they were too 2D in places. But you got to, tell me if you agree with this, Amanda, on the, up to the last 50 pages, it's got the stage where twist after twist seemed to build up, didn't it? I mean, for me, it came close to choking the tension with everything in it, with too much subplots, too much twists and stuff.
I think you can do too much sometimes. I think people just like they're writing books and they're thinking, I'm going to do this twist in there, but everyone's looking for a twist. So then I'm going to do this and that, and I'm just going to throw everything on top of it.
Yeah, that's pretty well I felt towards this book trilogy. It was the first book in the series, and it might pick up on the second book when he calms it down. So it felt he was overdoing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's why. Is there anything else you want to discuss with this book, Amanda?
I think the only other annoying thing was there was some pretty sort of basic grammar errors that should have been picked up by an editor, and that a decent author shouldn't have even made in the first place, and they just slipped through them there. And it's like, if you've got something like Amazon, these different events, quality and editing, or what's the advantage of going with a publisher if they don't?
Yeah, no, I agree completely, Amanda, with that. That's a question. I had a bit of an issue with the first 20 pages or so, where it seemed to be a bit of almost out of place what came in the book, and you could have probably lost that and started up when she woke up in the clone body. Because a bit before it, I think it was flashback something, and it didn't quite work for me. So, but it is what it is. I always say, and anyway, for the book. So right, Amanda. I think is there anything else you need to talk about this book before we mark it?
I did notice something actually when I was just marking my book on Goodreads as I finished it. And a lot of people were saying that the author kept mentioning what race people were. And it's like, I must have somehow missed that, because I didn't notice anything like that.
No, I didn't either. But again, that perhaps, it sounded like to me that he was telegraphing things a bit too much and don't you? So it's an interesting point, certainly. So, like I said, you think about it, yeah. If he's doing that, is he just? I don't like using this term. Is he just doing it to try and place the race card? Even I'm not happy saying that.
I didn't notice anything in the book, and sometimes it's like maybe I just missed it. But as an author myself, and I've had books where people have said stuff, and I've automatically known, well, that's not right. It's like, so sometimes people just maybe imagine it or get confused. I don't know, but I notice it. Like, I had someone in one of my books once say that there was an incestual relationship in there, when there wasn't.
Really?
Well, and then I re-edited the book and went back through it looking for it, in case, like, I don't know, I got drunk on Bailey's one night, but it wasn't there.
Very, very weird. But you've had that with a book before now, where somebody wrote a review on it and missed the point completely, didn't they?
Yeah, I think once you put your work out there, people are just going to see something, and it's not necessarily there. So it might say more about them than anything else. I don't know.
That's a point. But looking at what you had here, with your case here, this does ask. This book certainly does ask a few questions, and it wasn't like I said, lots of people are saying that in reviews. I've not seen it, to be frankly honest with you. But and you said you didn't really notice it either. So I don't know. To be honest, it's a funny one. So anyway, should we get this marked?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go first then. Okay, what do you reckon I'll give in this book?
I think probably 7.
7.5. So it should have been a better book than what it was really. So, and you, Amanda?
I'm giving it 7 because it's a recommendation, but just about. But I'm probably not going to read the rest of the series.
Yeah, the second one's out in September time next year, so you'd hope he thinks this one through a bit more for the second one, but who knows? We'll wait and see if it comes up on Amazon first. Good first reads again, I might go for it. Watch his face. So anyway, Amanda Nicholson.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
And we're going to insert the wedding theme tune here in between each book.
Is that our new jingle then, is it?
Yeah, if you say reading in bed over the top of it.
Yeah. Reading in bed, reading in bed, reading in bed.
Yeah,
Right.
comes reading in bed.
Right, guys, we'll take a quick break here, okay? Let Amanda calm down because you're getting excited here, definitely. Right, say bye, Amanda.
Bye.
See you all in a minute.
Reading in bed.
Now, anyone's wondering here, we're just a bit of a giggle there during the break because this is the first time Amanda's used Zoom since, obviously, in her account since we got married, and the first half it had Amanda still showing, and what did you just do, Amanda? Then
I've just updated my name on Zoom.
Yeah, I think she was doing it just trying to confuse me then, and I spotted it straight away because I've got an eagle eye. That's why, right? So, a bit like I know Amanda's doing her first solo book this month now, Amanda, aren't you?
Yeah.
What is it?
It's called Name Mortal, and it's by Julia Alty.
Okay, well, do you give us a blurb?
In a future where Earth's continents have collided, eradicating the majority of the landmass, cultural restructuring has become imperative. As a genetic anomaly is exposed, causing a subsection of the human race to live centuries longer than a typical lifespan, there is a divide between this new species and the rest of humanity. Mandy, having fought against this segregation for over a decade, is looking for a solution to unite her kind with the rest of the world. On assignment to seduce the only true immortal known in existence, Mandy quickly learns determining friend from foe can be a troublesome affair.
Interesting. Now, this is one of your books you get on that thinking jig, wasn't it?
Pigeonhole.
I seem to go as the Pigeonhole book. This. So, what made you want to go with this book? First of all,
I think I just like the sound of it, and obviously the main character is called Mandy, which is pretty similar to my name. So,
yeah, well, that's fair enough. That's no surprise knowing you, Amanda. That's what I'm going to say to that. No, that's fair play. Fair play. So now, obviously, we've been Pigeonhole book. For people that don't know what Pigeonhole is, would you like to explain first of all, Amanda?
So you get a stave every day, which is like an extract to read, and you read the whole book over a certain amount of days, which is usually over 10 days.
And was this a 10-day one then, was it, I take it?
I think it was, yeah.
No, cool. Okay, then we'll give us a strength then.
It was a really interesting idea. So you've got it's futuristic again, and the world's changed, and there's I suppose, I don't know what's happened to the world, but it's overcrowded basically. And then there's a sort of race of people that are near mortal, so they live for hundreds of years. And then there's a man who's immortal who basically lives forever. And Mandy's assignment is to seduce him without him knowing what she's doing, and try to have a baby so that this man who's in charge of the company, well, he's got his own agenda, so I'm not going to ruin what it is.
Yeah, it's clearly the book is got some twists in it, so that's a show of it. So, okay, so obviously we've been a Pigeonhole book then, and I always have to ask you the same question. Would it have been over 10 days? How was the pacing of it then for you? Was 10 days about right time for you to read it?
Yeah, it was really good actually, because I didn't feel like it was dragging. In fact, I would have read more, I think. But it's just got to the end, and then you got to wait until the next day. So I probably would have read the whole thing quicker if I had the book.
I know you've had some books in the past in Pigeonholes, and it's been a bit of a struggle to get through, hasn't it?
Yeah,
But
sometimes it'll entice you in and it'll tell you that it's like 20 or 30 minutes each part. And then you'll find yourself taking an hour to read each part, which is a little bit more than that, really, isn't it?
yeah, no, straight away. Okay, tell us about the major characters in the book then.
So you've got Mandy, who's an immortal, and you've got Peter, who's an immortal. And I thought the characters were quite well defined. I know some people have criticised it on Goodreads and felt that like they were a bit too deep, but I didn't feel like that. I just felt like they were they're quite human, even though it's set in the future and it's sort of a different setting. And they both had different flaws. And then there's something else that gets revealed later on that I'm not going to reveal. Because Peter seems to think that he's like a woman magnet and he's always seducing women, but there's a little bit of a twist to that. So that's all I'm going to say.
Yeah, no, that's fair play. Fair play. Straight away, that's been the case, and keep it secret to make people want to read the book. Now, obviously, what was the backing cast like in this book? Because we were talking about that in Constance in the first part of this podcast today, where neither of us really liked the backing cast a great deal, did we? So did this book seem better paced out to you?
Yeah, so the character that's got his own agenda and wants to get rid of immortals and immortals, and he's doing his own tests and stuff like that. He felt quite fleshed out, but then there were a few sort of minor characters, and I don't think they were sort of as well developed as the rest of the characters in the book.
Yeah, no, I get you completely. That's been the case. So, okay then. Is there anything else we need to touch on today with the strengths of this book? We're going to weaknesses.
No, I think that's it really. The plot felt believable. I didn't see anything out of place.
And it looks like the pacing of the book was fairly good, and that's obviously a good sign as well. So excellent. Okay, was there anything about this book you didn't really like?
Not so much what I didn't like. I just think I'm sort of a casual sci-fi fan. I'm not like into reading everything and like the more like out of this world, the better kind of thing. And I think like the people that do prefer like the more out of this world stuff, they didn't seem to enjoy it as much. So it's probably aimed at someone who just like enjoys reading science fiction every so often rather than is obsessed with it.
Yeah, in your case, like this one, you've read 2 science fiction books now, haven't you, really? So
yeah.
I'm
science fiction, don't know.
I bet you are completely that one. So okay, so there's nothing else we need to talk about with weaknesses of this book then, is it? Before we go to the market. Okay, that being the case, then, do you want to tell us what mark you're going to give this book?
I'm going to give it a 4 stars out of 5, and it's actually the first.
I say 8 out of 10, then basically, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually the first in the series as well. So, and it ended on like a cliffhanger. So this one, I probably will want to read the next one to it.
Good. Has there been revealed yet when the second book's coming out yet or anything?
Probably usually about a year between them, isn't there?
Yeah,
so
usually about
longer.
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, yeah, that's fine. Well, keep us informed then how it goes. And okay, Amanda, that is the end of part 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
What hints do you want off me for my solo book in the part 3?
Give me a clue.
You are not allowed to have clues. That's what the major character in this book would say. Okay.
Oh, I don't like him already.
I don't think you will. There's some stunts he pulled in this one. Anyway, then. Well, that's the end of part 2, guys. So, Amanda.
Bye.
See, look at that. See, changed name. She just still knows what she's doing. Know your role, don't you, mate? As somebody you like says so.
Yeah.
So, see you in 1 minute.
Reading in bed.
Welcome back to Reading in Bed with me, Amanda Nicholson, and
Andy M. Okay, it's my turn now. And this is my surprise, Amanda, who my solo book is from this month as well. It is another Gregg Hurwitz book, and this one is called The Program.
Okay, so do you want to start with the blurb?
I will do. Okay, this is the second book in a series actually of a Tim man. I'm not know his name now. Very helpful. The second book in a series of Tim Rackley's books that Gregg Hurwitz did. And these books are done before he did his Nowhere Man series. So in this powerful follow-up to his action-packed thriller, The Kill Clause, Gregg Hurwitz, the new master of pulse-pounding suspense, ratchets up the excitement with another sensational page-turner featuring Tim Rackley, a driven lawman motivated by honour, morality, and a deep sense of justice. Called back into the fold of the US Marshal Service, Tim is tasked with retrieving Lee Hemmings, the daughter of a powerful Hollywood producer, from a mind-controlled cult. As Tim wends his way deep undercover into an incestuous operation called The Program, he confronts a brand of mind-warping manipulation beyond his worst expectations. Tim becomes enmeshed with a diverse band of characters, from the charismatic, mesmerized leader T.D. Betters to a cult reject Burnout, to the intelligent yet highly vulnerable Lee herself, and finds himself caught inside the shadowy landscape of lies, manipulation, and terror. At stake, innocent minds, maybe even his own.
Oh, so for people that don't know, and most people do know because you've reviewed so many of his books, what have you also read by this author?
And mostly it's just been his Nowhere Man series, because there's been 6 of them so far. And that's basically like, I don't want to give too much away with it. This is quite a different character. The Nowhere Man's a kind of like government secret agent hitman, basically. And he's basically, I like him because he just does take shit, basically. That's why there's no messing around. And I would have loved to see him in this sort of situation, because he would have probably waited outside the count, the call, the shot, that is shooting people dead. But this is quite different, Amanda. So, do you want to tell you a bit about the first book in this series?
Yeah.
Yeah, in this book, there's 4 of them in this series. I don't want to be in anymore now. The first book focuses on Tim Rackley, who in the first book of this series was a member of the Justice Department, who was excommunicated after his daughter was killed and he went on the rampage. Yeah. So now what happened was, at the end of that book, he basically got thrown out of the Justice Department, and he gets brought back into the Justice Department by a Hollywood producer, and basically his organisation gets paid to bring him back on the books, to send him, let him loose at these people. That's why. So it's one of those ones where, what do you think about a series of books, Amanda, where do you always believe it should be quite easy to pick up a book in the second book of a series?
I think so. Sometimes it just depends.
Yeah, this one here, I knew what happened in the first book, but it wasn't like, you know what I mean, lady not rammed in your face. So that's why. So I think that worked really well on it, and it also worked. I think Gregg Hurwitz here, it felt to me he'd done his research for his cult, and there was a lot of detail about the methodology behind the aggressive recruitment techniques. That was quite eye-opening. I'll say that for it straight away. Love that. So that's why. Obviously, like, what else do you want me to tell you about this book?
Was there anything I don't know that stood out for you before we move on to any bad points?
Yeah, I felt myself the cult thing was really well wrote, and the book was pretty well paced. Tell me if you think this were novels. It usually has to be in like 3 or 4 parts, really, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It felt to me he had done it in 3 acts, basically, where he got to the third of the book, and he went into the cult round about that point. Then round out with the last third to go, he broke out of the cult, basically, and then had to go back in and deal with the resolution. So it was pretty well spot on, I felt, to be honest. And I felt as well the main character, when he was obviously vulnerable after losing his daughter in the last book, and he killed the bloke that did it, basically. And I think, you know what I mean? I think that played in his mind a lot.
Yeah.
And I didn't think he was in real danger of being converted into joining the cult, but was presented just flawed enough to show what damage it did after the event led up to the death of his daughter, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's why. Do you want to go into weaknesses?
Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything specific you want us to go through in the weaknesses?
Did you find yourself comparing it to the other books a lot and thinking, oh, well, this won't happen in that book?
Yeah, I wanted to see you and Smock let loose at this goal, basically. The book would have been around 300 pages. He would have wiped the lot of them out, basically. Messing around.
You'll have to do a crossover book then.
I would love to see, to be honest, like Jack Reacher let loose in this cult, because there was loads of them, and obviously like a lot of the hired muscle, and it was based on when you just needed someone like perhaps a bit more direct sometimes. This detective was the book itself, I think, was probably a bit long, to be honest with you. It was 460 pages long. And you tell me you get that stage, that's a fair whack of reading, really, isn't it?
Yeah, that's like 2 books almost.
Yeah, and I felt it flagged in the middle, truth be told you. And I felt the ending was a bit rushed as well. It cut off seemed too quick. So, do you want to know what a major problem I had with this book was?
Yeah.
There was a scene in it when, I've got to explain first of all, and the major cult guy in it, so I've told the name before, it was very, very creepy. And you can see he was a scam artist really quickly. But he had a load of virgin women around him, and he called them these lilies.
Mm.
And do you want to know, what happened was he used to palm them off to his men when he's finished them. He had no use for them, basically. But have to let his men take their virginity, and then he didn't need them anymore. But there was one where one girl, obviously that young girl, and it had a lot of trouble, mental trouble, and basically palmed her off with the man, and she came back, tried to come back to him, and after being basically sexually abused, and he wouldn't know what to do with her, and she basically ran away, then came back, and then basically they took her out and killed her quite graphically at the edge of the compound. But the trouble is, the detective wasn't that far away from that, and he knew what they were going to do to her, and I wasn't very comfortable with the fact like he didn't take action on it.
Yeah.
That's what I thought, you know what I mean? That was a bit, and I don't happy that bit, to be honest with you, but I said, but listen, either way, it's got its little flaws in the book, but I did feel it was a well-wrote book, however. And I didn't realise after I finished it was actually wrote in 2006, says Johnson. So he's been writing, this I think was his second novel.
Yeah.
You think 15 years later, he's still doing novels and stuff like that. And his second novel is not as good as what came, but it's still a fair fist, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right. Is there anything else you want to know of me, Amanda, on this?
I don't think so. Is there any final things you want to say before you give it a mark?
Let's check my notes in this one. Yeah, I felt a bit like obviously on Constance book before. I felt, when we said before, some of the backing characters did merge into one a bit in places with this. And they perhaps were a bit too roughly sketched out of my personal taste. And I think you can see that as a writer, he improved it, making the backing cast better. He started writing more novels. But again, it was worth it. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Okay. Do you want the marking?
Yeah.
What do you think I'm going to give this?
Oh, I think it's probably going to be at least an 8.
It's an 8. It's an 8. So it's not. No, it wasn't the Nowhere Man books. And there's another 3 in the series in this. I probably will read them at some point, but I'm going to wait for. I know Nowhere Man book 7's out next year, and I'm going to wait for that next to this writer's book. So I'm looking forward to that more. So, okay, Amanda.
So, what are we doing next then?
You tell me.
We're doing something that we've got to bleep out, otherwise we'll have to mark the episode as explicit.
And if people are wondering, that's just by the title. So, yeah. So, the book itself is certainly the most colourful book I've read for a while. But we'll come on to that shortly, won't we, Amanda?
Yeah.
Right, say bye, Amanda.
Bye.
See you in a minute, guys.
Reading in bed.
Welcome back to Reading in Bed, in the E's and the N. And
Amanda Nicholson, I think, right? I think. Okay, Amanda, I'm going to let you have the pleasure of introducing the title of his next book.
Okay, so you can guess what the last word is. It's Dating What the Bleep.
Yeah. And
It's by Laurie L. Hardacker.
Now, do you want me to do the blurb or do you want to do the blurb?
You could do the blurb.
Okay, right. And Laurie L. Hardacker is a first-time author who unfortunately has been dating for over 20 years. The stories she has accumulated and her opinions on dating will cause others laughter, joy, pain, and tears. She's emotionally, mentally, and physically exhausted from the dating roller coaster she has been on and tells it like it is, no holds barred. She shares real life and over time unbroadcastable stories from experiences and the experiences and opinions of other singles. This book is in no way a self-help book, so don't read it if you're looking to make sense of the world of dating. Read it, or if you have or been single or dating or looking for others to commiserate with. With all that being said, put your seat in no tight position, lock yourself in, grab the bath bag located in the seat in front of you, hang on tight, and enjoy the ride. Okay.
Yeah.
Amanda, strengths then.
I think the book's relatable to most people in one way or another.
Yeah, it is. What she did, I think, really well with this was, tell me, I don't know, how quickly did you read this book, Amanda?
In the space of possibly a week and a half, I think it was.
I think I read it in 3 days, 3 or 4 days. I've read it really quickly. It was quite, I think the style she wrote it in suited her really well with this one. It was pretty easy to read, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't seem to recall, was it about 200 pages? It's a fairly brief book, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. And tell people the expanded on the relatability, Amanda, just so people know what you mean.
Well, as some people know, we met through a dating site, and before that, I can't speak for you, but I met a lot of questionable people on and offline and had a lot of experiences, some that I'll never forget.
Yeah, and so some you've wrote about in your own dating book as well, haven't you? So, Love Dates Over Nightmares. I was never really a massive dater before we got together. Nothing Hardacker, I wasn't. I just lived my life really a lot of the time. And so I've got an ex or two that I probably best left forgot about. But it is what it is. But yeah, I think with the book, and I found it quite interesting. The fact was, she was quite a no holds barred book really, in the journey, the way society has changed in relation to dating since she joined the dating world. I know she's about my age, and some of the stories she went on about it made me embarrassed to be a man in this book, Jones.
Yeah, it was. I can see why some people wouldn't like it because it was very raw and it was just like a stream of consciousness. Like it's as if she just sat down and just wrote everything that came into her head. And it's like some people might prefer it to be more thought out. But I think it worked for me. I didn't have a problem with it. I found it quite entertaining.
I did, and I think that's the weaknesses with it really as well. So we'll talk about it more generally than the last book here. I think you're dead right with that, Amanda. It's one of those sort of books where it's that raw. And the stream of consciousness style in it wouldn't suit everybody. I've no issue with it. Like I enjoyed it. I thought it was probably the easiest book I've read this month, truth be told, is to read by some distance. And you could feel you understood her as a person by the end of it, didn't you? I suppose.
Yeah. I hope if she's still got a dating profile as well, she puts a link to this book in the dating profile.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea actually. I'm gonna have to drop her an email after this, letting her it's on live. And yeah, Laurie, do it. I would. But if you look at the website, the website's covering all kinds of things on top of it here. So it's quite an unusual book list, really. Because have you read a book like this before, Amanda? Really?
I can't say that I have actually.
Yeah, and it was just quite an unusual book because the ideas behind it was, and you'd like the research you did in this book because she's quoting an awful massive amount of material in places.
Yeah,
that's why. But yeah, no, it's good. It was a good book. It was really worth your time. Read this whenever. I felt straight away with it. So no complaints my side of it. So, is there anything else you want to discuss with this book, Amanda?
No, there's nothing I can think of. I mean, you're not going to be able to relate to everything because a lot of it's either her personal experience or other people's personal experience. But I think most people are going to recognise something in this if they've been online dating.
Yeah, I think so. I think do you think it's more aimed at the female market, this book, Amanda, and the male market?
Possibly, but I think she did mention some male friends that she taught, didn't she, as well? I'm sure she did.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she did in that as well. So like I said, but no, I said it was a very enjoyable book. And I think you're right with what you said, Amanda. The bluntness in the book in places, it was straight in your face, John. It wasn't it. it's fair play to her. Fair play to her. Like, when you've got that sort of story to tell, I think you should really just get out and tell it. That's what she did, really. So that's why. And I think it's that sort of book that she wrote. She could easily do a follow-up book on this. She could.
Yeah.
And I said, more dating, what the F, part 2 or something like that.
Yeah.
That's why. But no, I agree. They're good, really good stuff. So, okay. Is there anything on? We just talked more generally about this, Amanda. Was there anything you didn't like about the book, really?
No, not really. I mean, I did like feel like I was listening to somebody just talk constantly, but it was entertaining for most of it.
Yeah, I thought so as well. It was really entertaining, and it was a really, really good book to enjoy on. So definitely with that. So right, Amanda, should we give this a markings?
Yeah.
Okay, ladies first.
I'm going to give it 8 out of 10.
Guess what I'm giving this book, Amanda?
8 out of 10.
Correct. Okay. Now see, what's the saying you use, Amanda? There is it.
Psychic psychos.
Yeah, that's what we are. They're both, and it's obviously worth bearing in mind that we do our reviews. We don't look at each other's notes, do we? So again, if we're doing joint
I can't
books,
see the notes. I can't even see you because we've turned the video off now.
Yeah, because unfortunately the Zoom went down before on it a bit, so that's why. But yeah, it was one of those sort of books. I think we're pretty well probably on the same lines of it, really. So, right. Anyway, guys and girls, that is it for the September episode of
Reading in Bed.
Yeah. Now we are coming back in October, of course, and as we're going to be on our honeymoon, who knows how many books we're going to have read by then, aren't we? So
I'm planning on doing an audio book, but I don't know which audio book yet.
Oh, fair play. No, fair play. So, and what's the joint book we're doing, Amanda?
It's called Cellar Door, and it's by Jackson Arthur. And it's a collection of short horror stories, which is fitting since October is Halloween.
Yep. Now, I'll tell people want the preview on this. It's been a reading about extract, this one, Amanda, hasn't it? Fairly recently as well.
I did the beginning of one of the short stories.
It's very good as well, actually. I remember that episode. So, okay. I'm going to do that book with Amanda, of course. The book I'm currently reading is by a gentleman called Keith A. I'm trying to read it, like jamming on me. Keith A. Pearson, I think it is. And it's called The 86th Fix. And that's kind of like a Back to the Future sort of science fiction book. I'm reading that currently, so that'll definitely be one of my solo books next month. And I have got as well, I don't know whether I will review this yet, Jan Martel's Life of Pi as well, which was a film that people have seen the film as well at one point as well. So I've got that to read as well. So, and I know you're not sure what your other books are going to be yet, Amanda, are you? So
no, there's one that I wanted to get hold of, and I've got it now, and I'm hoping to get around to reading it before October, but we'll see. Yeah,
watch your space, guys and girls. So, but anyway, so that is it for today then. We'll love you and leave you. Amanda Nicholson.
Bye.
See you all soon, guys. Take care. Bye.
Reading in bed. Reading in bed.